Right, a circular pond, number 10, is modeled by the equation x squared plus y squared equals 225. A bridge over the pond is modeled by this linear equation. And they want to know, where does the bridge meet the pond? All right, well, a couple of things we need to know. We have a circle, so we need to know the circle formula. So x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is our circle formula, and that equals the radius squared. So, in other words, we're not subtracting anything to this. So those numbers are actually 0 in this case. But just keep in mind, if this would have been something different, like x minus 2, then that would have been a positive 2 here because of that minus sign. So keep in mind the formula has the minus sign, and the HK represents the center of the circle. And then, of course, R represents the radius. So this one is just right at the origin is the center, and then it goes up 5, 10, 15, and then 5, 10, 15, and then 5, 10, negative 5, negative 10, negative 15. All right, and then negative 5, negative 10, negative 15 over here. So there's our circle. And the reason we're not graphing this in the calculator, a circle is really hard to graph in the calculator because both of the variables are squared. So even if we did solve for y, it would only give us the top half of our circle, so it wouldn't give us the whole thing. All right, and then our line, we want to solve our line for y. So x minus 7y equals negative 75. And did I mention on the radius that that was 225, so if we take the square root of it, that gives us our radius. All right, so minus x, and then we have negative 7y equals negative x minus 75, divide by negative 7, divide each of these by negative 7, and we get y equals 1/7 x plus, and I get 10.7 about. So that means it's going to cross a little bit up here, and then it's got a slight increase, goes up 1, right 7. So not sure exactly what this looks like, but it's going to look something like that where it's crossing twice. It looks like the first time it's going to cross is in that first quadrant, and then the other one's in that second quadrant. All right, so look at the two places we have that crossing. The first quadrant is a positive positive. So I'm looking at answer choice D, that does not have a positive positive. C does not have a positive positive. The only possible ones are A and B. And now I'm looking at answer choice, the second quadrant is a negative positive, and only one of those has a negative positive. That's the first one. So just going by that without graphing anything in the calculator, I can see that. All right, so just using that way, we can eliminate and get A as our choice. But let's look at it from one other approach. What if we were to solve the first one for one of the letters? So, for instance, solve it for x. We could add 7y, and now we can do substitution. So if x equals 7y minus 75, then we could plug that x value in into the second equation. So it would be 7y minus 75 squared plus y squared equals 225. And then I could expand that out. I could use the box method or the FOIL method to do 7y minus 75 times 7y minus 75. And I'll get 49y squared minus 1050y plus 5,625 plus y squared equals 225. And then combine my like terms. I'm going to get 50y squared minus 1050y plus 5625 equals 225. And then if I factor out, I'm going to make my life easy. I can see how Actually, I didn't solve it for 0 yet, so I need to subtract the 225 first. And then that gives me 5,400. And I just bring down the other two terms. And substitution, it looks like, is going to be the best way to do this one because it gives us our exact answer. Now look at these. We have 50 for a lead coefficient. That looks pretty ugly. But this ends in a 50, that ends in 100, so I know 50 will go into every one of these. So the quick way is to times by 1/50th or just divide everything by 50. So if I divide everything by the common factor of 50, I get y squared minus 21y plus 108 equals 0. And then multiply my outside numbers. 1 times 108 is 108. That needs to equal my middle term of negative 21, the two factors, and that would be negative 9 times negative 12 gives us positive 108. So it would be y minus 9 and y minus 12 equals 0. So if I set each of these equal to 0, it would be 9 and 12 would be my two solutions. And 9 and 12, of course, were my two solutions for A and B, but I didn't plug them in back just yet, back to my initial equation, that x minus 7y equals negative 75. I need to plug these answers into that. So these are my two y values. So I need to plug them in for y into the x minus 7y equals negative 75. So I could do x minus 7 times 9 equals negative 5, and that gives me x minus 63. And I forgot that 7 there. So x minus 63 equals negative 75. And if I add 63 to both sides, x would be negative 12. And then if I plug in that other y value of 12, let's see what we would get. X minus 7y equals negative 75. And I just remembered I want to make that other one an ordered pair. So that negative 12, comma, and I plugged in a 9 for y. So it's negative 12, 9 is my first ordered pair. All right, now back to our second plug-in. So now I'm going to plug in the 12, like I said, for y. So x minus 7 times 12 equals negative 75 minus 84. Plus 84 plus 84. And then x equals 9. So that ordered pair would be 9, comma, 12. So negative 12, 9 and 9, 12 would be answer choice A. And that's two different ways to do number 10.